Alright, so let's do this problem again, question 44. Let's hit zoom 6. Let's start with a standard window again. Now we see that it comes down, we see that it comes up and back down, we see that it goes up again. So we know it's doing some sort of curve down below, but we don't know what. So let's hit zoom 3, enter. That helps us to zoom out. And let's see what it gives us. Again, it gives us a little better, but it doesn't show the bottom here. So let's hit zoom 3, enter again to zoom out. Now sometimes when you zoom out, you can't see what's going on there, so you gotta do a zooming in, but you gotta do it very carefully. So what I'm gonna do is do what's called a zoom box or Z box. I'm gonna move this little cursor to an imaginary rectangle that I'm gonna make, and when I get to the upper left corner of my rectangle, I'm gonna hit enter. Then I'm gonna move over and down, and when I get to the bottom right corner, I'm going to hit enter, and then my calculator will give me a new screen with only that portion that I've boxed off. So hit zoom 1, it's called Z box. So see the little plus sign, move up a little bit there, hit enter, then you move over till you get as wide as the function is. That's about good. Now you want to go as low to get all of the graph. So let's go a little bit lower. There we go. Now when I hit zoom, we should see the entire graph. See, there we go. Now we're seeing our graph here. So we want to find these maximums and minimum points. How do we do that? Second trace. Second trace, by the way, is a very useful function in this class. There's 5 different things you can do with second trace. If you hit second trace 1, then you can type in any value you want and it will tell you the y coordinate. And you can do that forever. Type in an 8, type in a -2, type in a 7. The only restriction is it has to be an x value within your screen. So on this one I could probably only pick from -8 to +8 or something like that. Second trace 2 will tell me zeros. And what's a 0? It's a x-intercept. Now to find an x-intercept, you move left bound. So let's figure out where we are. We're over at 7 something. So let's move all the way to the left. Okay, so I want to move to the left of this point, and so in this case it's above, and I hit enter. Then I want to move to the right of that point, which I just did by arrowing to the right. Now it's to the right of it. And then guess, you don't have to choose anything, just hit enter. And so I found a -4, 0. So that's the point -4, 0. Now I can find this point in the middle here. I think that's just 0, 0. Well, I know it's 0, 0 because you plug a 0 in and you get 0. So we know that. So this point over here is probably 4, 0. Let's find it. Second trace 2 for 0. You move all the way over there. And you gotta pick a left-hand point. So to the left of the point is actually below it. Enter. You pick a right-hand point and that's actually above it. And then just hit enter for guess. And you get 4, 0. Okay, now the next one is second trace 3. 3 is minimum. If you want to find a minimum, we've got 2 of them here. You move to the left of one of your minimums, so let's move all the way over here. And let's look for this minimum, so we move to the left of it. We hit enter. We move to the right of it, hit enter, and then just hit guess. That's where I got my -2.8, -64. Now let's find that one. Second trace 3. We move all the way over here, and you move to the left of it, enter. Then we move to the right of it, enter, and then guess. And again we get +2.8, -64. Now if we wanted to find this point here, we could choose second trace 4 for maximum. and you'd have to go to the left of the point, to the right of the point, and then guess, and it would give you 0, 0. We don't need to do that. So now that we've got our graph here and we know our extremes, our extrema, the minimums and maximums, we can now know our domain. It goes to the left forever and to the right forever, minus infinity to infinity. We know our range. It goes as low as negative 64 and as high as infinity. Then they ask you, where is it increasing? Well, it's increasing from minus 2.8 to 0, and it's increasing from 2.8 to infinity. Now, where is it decreasing? Minus infinity to minus 2.8, and 0 to 2.8. Right? And the same thing here for this one. When you graph it, you'll see that it's basically a half circle at minus 5 to 5, and it goes as high as positive 5. So your domain is minus 5 to 5. Your range is 0 to 5. And where is it increasing? From minus 5 to 0. Where is it decreasing? From 0 to 5. Okay. Now, with regards to your graphing calculator, first off, to turn it on, you hit on button, obviously. To turn it off, you hit second on. That will turn it off. All of these buttons have multiple meanings to them. If you notice the 7, if you hit the 7 button, you get 7, but if you hit the second 7, you get U, and if you hit alpha 7, you get O. So each of these guys has a three different values you can choose based on if you just hit the key, or if you hit second that key, or alpha that key. Second will give you all these things in blue. Alpha will give you all these things in green. There's square root, which is second x squared. There's log, natural log. There's exponent, multiply, divide, add, subtract. We know all that stuff. Here's your negative key. That's different than your subtract key. Be careful there. Here's your parentheses. And if you hit math, you get a bunch of different stuff. First, you can change something into a fraction or into a decimal. Or you can raise it to the third power or third root. 5 is useful again because you can take any root you want. You can do the 7th root just by hitting, you have to first hit 7, then you hit math 5, and it gives you the 7th root. Math will give you a bunch of other stuff you don't really need to know for this quarter. If you arrow to the right, that first one is useful because that's absolute value. I think that's about it. We know the window. We did some zooming, tracing, and graphing. We did a table. Second window gives you table set, and second graph gives you your table. Window, you can type in whatever window you want, or again you can do zoom. You can zoom in by hitting zoom 2, enter. You can zoom out by hitting zoom 3, enter. And all the rest of this isn't very useful, but you can sometimes try zoom 0, which is called zoom fit, and it will approximate your the y values for your graph. Sometimes it doesn't work very well, but you can also do Z box like we did earlier in the graph. And I think that's about it.